Alright, so let's start with the big picture. The Knicks wrapped up their trip to Abu Dhabi 2-0 over the Sixers, and while the team looked sharp overall, it also raised some questions about the bottom of the roster and how this new look rotation is taking shape. They also played their game against the Timberwolves last week and did end up winning in overtime. But one thing that's already clear is that Mike Brown is serious about defense and spacing. Well, sure, but he's clearly intrigued by how it lets the Knicks stay big without completely losing shooting. It also gives guys like OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges more freedom defensively, and that trickles down into how the bench units are being built too. Because if the starters are settled, all the pressure shifts to the end of the roster, and that's where this Mathews, Shamet, and Brogdon battle is about to get real. So let's start with the easy one, Alex Len. Len played in game 1 of preseason and not that many minutes and hasn't seen the floor ever since. That pretty much tells you everything. Mike Brown has been raving about the energy and defensive presence of both Trey Jemison and Ariel Hukporti, two guys who've stepped up big as backup and third string bigs. Brown even said after game 2, quote, "Our defensive player of the game tonight was Trey Jemison. He had 2 perfect vertical contests. That's the kind of toughness we need off our bench." So Len, he's out. He's the first domino for sure. That leaves one roster spot left to open, and that's where things get complicated. Enter Garrison Mathews, the undrafted sharpshooter who's been quietly turning heads. He went 3 for 3 from deep in game 1 in Abu Dhabi, brought non-stop energy, and played like a guy who knows exactly what his role is: catch, fire, and compete. Jake Fisher from the Steinline even said that Mathews is a legit contender for the shooting specialist spot that Landry Shamet was expected to claim. That alone speaks volumes. You can see why Mike Brown loves him. He plays fast, he doesn't hesitate, and he brings that dog mentality every possession. The Knicks were 24th in three-point shooting last season with Tibbs as the coach, dead last among playoff teams in the East. Mathews helps fix that, plain and simple. He's not a big name, but his fit might actually be cleaner than Shamet's at this point. Fans are already calling him a preseason breakout, and if he finishes strong in these final 2 games, it's going to be really hard for the Knicks to justify cutting him. Now on the other side, we've got Landry Shamet, a player who was supposed to own that role. When the Knicks signed him, the thinking was obvious: proven shooter, playoff experience last season, fits in a quick trigger offense. But the problem is that he just hasn't shown much yet. His shot has been inconsistent, his defense has looked a little behind the rest of the team, and there's a lack of burst that you can feel when you compare him to guys like Mathews or even Deuce McBride. Shamet's biggest advantage is experience. He's been in those playoff moments last year, but on a team loaded with vets like Brunson, Bridges, OG, KAT, and Brogdon, experience is not enough on its own. And remember, Shamet's contract is non-guaranteed. If he does not stand out, it's an easy financial decision for the front office. The only way he stays now is if he absolutely goes off from 3 in these last 2 games and forces the coaching staff to reconsider. Then there is Malcolm Brogdon, the biggest name in this group and honestly the toughest call. When healthy, Brogdon is one of the best 6th men in basketball. He gives the Knicks steady playmaking, secondary scoring, and that calming veteran presence every contender wants off the bench. But his deal is not guaranteed either, at least right now, and the Knicks front office has to weigh whether they want to lock in his salary now or preserve flexibility heading into the trade deadline. That's where this gets interesting, because according to Jake Fisher, the Knicks have been actively calling teams to gauge interest in Pacome Dadiet, and multiple teams believe the Knicks even started him in game 1 just to showcase him for a potential trade. If Leon Rose finds a deal for Dadiet, even for a couple of second-round picks, that could easily open the door to keep both Brogdon and Mathews or Shamet. Otherwise, someone has to go, but from a basketball standpoint, Brogdon staying makes the most sense. He's too valuable as Brunson insurance and too respected in the locker room to let walk. And here is one more wrinkle in all of this: Josh Hart's back injury. Hart missed most of game 1 in Abu Dhabi after tweaking his back chasing a loose ball, and he's been sidelined ever since. Might actually end up saving someone's roster spot for the time being. So where does all of this land heading into the final week of preseason? Here's my read. Garrison Mathews stays. He's earned it, period. His energy, confidence, and spacing have been exactly what Mike Brown's looking for. Number 2 is Malcolm Brogdon stays. He's too smart, too reliable, and too important for this locker room. And number 3, Landry Shamet gets waived. I know it's tough to hear, but unless he goes nuclear in the next 2 games, the writing is on the wall. Now, guys like Alex Len and Matt Ryan are all but guaranteed to be cut, and Pacome Dadiet is being shopped as we speak. If Leon Rose finds a taker, which we probably probably will, it gives the Knicks the breathing room to finalize this roster without cutting valuable vets. So bottom line is the Knicks are one trade away from being ready to roll. So what do you guys think? Who should the Knicks keep between Mathews, Shamet, and Brogdon? And do you think Leon Rose will pull off one more trade before the start of the season? Make sure to drop your takes in the comments because I want to hear what you guys are thinking heading into the final preseason stretch. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and sub to the channel for more Knicks news and updates you will not want to miss. It's been KNYT here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.